Steve Rogers and his team are on the trail of a killer, and it will take them to some very dark places indeed. What will happen next? Well, let's hop into the pages of Captain America issue number 16 and 17 to find out. Well, it wasn't this interesting. This issue actually opens up with Alexa Lukin, the head of the Power Elite, having a dinner with Wilson Fisk, the mayor of New York. The two are sizing each other up at the moment, and it's made very clear that while they both need each other, they don't exactly like each other right now. Fisk especially says that his connection to Lukin and the Power Elite has only caused him harm in the last little bit. What with Agent Carter coming and rattling his cage not that long ago for information on his co-conspirators, then of course you have all these dead cops that are showing up on the streets of New York. And speaking of the dead officers, Captain America and Misty Knight are trying to pick up the trail of Scourge, the man behind all of these killings. Fitting too that Misty would want in on this job, as she too was an NYPD officer before becoming a superhero. As our good guys quickly discover, they're not the only ones working this case, as they end up running right into Johnny Walker, aka former Captain America and current US agent. Walker I've always found to be a fascinating character. It would be very easy just to call him more extreme, more red state Captain America, but new writers have taken him into some interesting directions, and this is no exception. Mainly that his heart always seems to be in the right place, but his brain is very easily tricked because, well, he's not that smart. He pretty much believes everything anyone tells him, including all the lies that the Lukins have been spinning about Captain America since forever, be it that he was always in charge of the Secret Empire, that he killed General Ross, etc., etc. Cap is forced to lay the beat down on this guy, though admittedly he feels a little bad about it. He says that one day him and John are going to sit down, they're going to have a real talk, there's going to be a lot of yelling, a lot of crying, but in the end they're eventually going to get on the same page. They can't do that now, though, because the clock is ticking and they're looking for a killer. Sadly, the US agent detour means they're back at square one. Luckily, though, Misty Knight is able to call up her own experience as a New York cop and puts two and two together that all of the dead cops, 20 in total, weren't actually veteran officers. They were all rookies, which is very, very strange that they died on such high-profile raids. Basically, what this means is that all of these dead cops were hired under Mayor Fisk's watch, which means he could potentially blow the lid off this entire conspiracy, but he ends up getting blown up first. They say that he's dead in the news media, but that's pretty impossible if you're reading the current Daredevil book. Those things just don't line up, as he's alive and well in that series. With yet another lead drying up, Steve and Misty figure that maybe what they really need to do is go back to who leaked the body cam footage. The whistleblower in question is in no mood to talk, that is, of course, until he realizes that it's Captain America who's shown up on his doorstep. Just the man he wanted to see, too, the only man he could trust with what he found. You see, as it turns out, Scourge didn't actually kill Detective Angel, the good cop whose murder kicked all of this off. Quite the opposite. He avenged the detective's death. All these dead cops, these 20 rookies, they were all dirty. They were working for Fisk as his own private army of the night, but it actually gets worse. They weren't just working for Fisk, they were also working for who was supposed to be his master in this situation, the Lukins and the Power Elite. That would explain why exactly it was the Watchdogs, the original group of homegrown terrorists that Cap was fighting when this arc began, have been able to essentially run around the cops without getting in trouble. Or, to put it in the timeless words of Rage Against the Machine, some of those that work forces are the same that burn crosses. This also basically means Captain America is stuck between a rock and a hard place right now. On one side, you got dirty cops with Confederate flag fetishes, and on the other side, a murderous vigilante. Both of whom are kinda stuck in a never-ending loop right now, using each other to justify their actions over and over again. Scourge manages to escape after his last attack, but Captain America starts to put two and two together here. For Scourge to know everything that was going on with the Kingpin, the Lukins, the dirty cops, the Watchdogs, he would probably have to have been pretty close to all of this, meaning that he himself might very well have been a cop once. And it's on that note right there the comic comes to a close, everybody. And so that was Captain America issue number 16 and number 17, and I gotta say, Ta-Nehisi Coates really turns up the heat in these two issues. The framing of this story also reminds me very much of a distressing PBS story I read back in 2016 about white supremacist groups invading local law enforcement all over the United States and what that could mean a decade from now. And I feel like Coates read the same article and wrote a Captain America story about it, and I mean, yeah, that definitely sounds like some some crazy out there comic book stuff, only, it's real. I take my hat off to you for the great use of U.S. Agent and the fact that Scourge is the villain of this story, and yet he's been hiding in the shadows so much they're really building up to a final confrontation with Cap, and I'm excited to see where that goes. Overall, I'd give these 2 issues an 8 out of 10. Really solid stuff.
Hey there everyone, it's your old pal Cave Jewel, and if you're seeing me right now, that means you watched to the end of the video, which I am very appreciative of. It really helps drive engagement and retention and all that other good YouTube stuff. So does liking and commenting. Wink wink. If you like my content too, you should check out my Patreon page. We just redid all the tiers, so there's a ton of great rewards. You can become a patron for as little as $1 a month, and well, it would just really help me out. It's never expected, but always appreciated. So until next time everyone, I've been Cape Joel, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.